Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, it is a grim forecast. Up to 100 Tasmanians could die within 6 months if the state were to reopen our borders once 80% are vaccinated, according to new modelling. The Premier has now pushed back a decision on a reopening date. Still hopeful he'll be able to make a call before Christmas.
Tasmanians watching and waiting for a decision on our borders.
Today I want to have a very frank discussion with Tasmanians.
Releasing modelling for what could happen if Tasmania reopened to Victoria and New South Wales when 80% of us are double vaccinated.
As we move to reopen our borders, the Delta will arrive. And when Delta arrives, that will mean that some people will get sick, some people will get very sick, and unfortunately some people will die.
Within the first 6 months, Tasmania would have almost 15,000 new cases, 590 hospital admissions and nearly 100 deaths. The government has now commissioned Tasmania-specific modelling. In terms of what that will mean for our borders, the Premier hopes to make a call on that before Christmas.
Because I know that once Delta arrives here, that some of my fellow Tasmanians will die. That's a statement of fact. But what I need to do is to be able to provide everybody with that opportunity to protect themselves.
We'll look at other states in Australia, we'll look at what's happening internationally. So we'll use multiple pieces of information to inform the decisions about opening up.
Peter Gutwin says he's concerned about New South Wales' plan to ease restrictions for those unvaccinated on December 1, accusing the state of straying from the national plan.
Most of us who are fully vaccinated will be able to participate in community life, in hospitality in 2 weeks' time. Those of you who are unvaccinated will have to wait at least another couple of months before that happens.
Now, that is a recipe for an acceleration of the spread of the virus.
More than 75% of Tasmanians have now had their first dose of the vaccine.
Ours is actually speeding up as well when we look at the volumes per week.
On track to reach the 90% double dose target by December 1. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
The identities of political supporters who donate more than $1,000 to a party would be made public under radical recommendations to electoral reform from Labor and the Greens. They argue election spending caps would level the playing field.
Unmasking Tasmania's political sponsors.
More transparency around who's donating to which political party and what they want.
Donation disclosure limits firmly in the spotlight. Labor demanding the reportable amount be dropped from $5,000 to $1,000 to curb what it claims is growing financial influence.
It's not fair, it needs to change, and that's why we're suggesting significant amendments to this bill.
In response to the draft reforms, they also want the details of donors published for 6 years, plus spending caps for elections, believing it will level the playing field for future campaigns, making it a battle of ideas, not bank accounts.
Money buys advertising, money buys billboards, money buys letters in people's letterboxes, money buys ads on TV. None of those things are cheap.
Along with strict donation limits, the Greens want foreign backers banned too.
Right now, as the draft legislation stands, it's a step forward, but it's not good enough.
Under the new laws, taxpayers would shell out for some future election costs, a regime adopted by most of Australia.
In recognition of providing a lower threshold, that public funding is recommended.
The state government believes it strikes the right balance, but critics argue more ambitious changes are needed to shake an unwanted label.
Tasmania has currently got the weakest donation laws in the country.
The Attorney-General says she will consider all submissions before tabling the bill in Parliament. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A Riverside woman who helped conceal a murder and dispose of the body has been released on parole. Jake Anderson Bretner was shot and dismembered in Launceston in 2018 by Jack Harrison Vincent Sadler. Sadler's former partner, Gemma Elizabeth Clark, was sentenced to 5.5 years jail in 2019 for failing to report a killing and being an accessory after the fact of murder. She became eligible for parole on August 17. The Parole Board of Tasmania says she does not pose a risk to the public. A man is in a serious condition after he lost control of an ATV while going down a hill on a farm in Burnie. Police say he and his passenger were thrown from the vehicle at the private property this morning. The driver was airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital with life-threatening injuries, while the passenger was taken to the North West Regional Hospital with serious injuries. Anyone with information about the crash should contact Burnie Police. Police officers who've died in the line of duty have been honoured in a moving ceremony in Hobart. The Blue family came together to remember those who've lost their lives while bravely protecting their communities.
Wreaths laid as Australia remembers its fallen officers. This service in Tasmania, one of many happening across the country.
May time soften the pain until all that remains is the warmth of the memories.
A candle lit for 3 officers who died in Australia this year, followed by a minute's silence. The death of one of Tasmania's own still raw.
Sergeant Robert Cook was a friend to many of those within Tasmania Police, and it's only been 12 months since his passing.
5 officers who died during the 1800s protecting the community have also been added to the Tasmania Police Memorial Baton after extensive research into their service.
Some have been involved in capturing convicts back in the day. Others were involved in policing watch houses.
Their names included in the National Memorial.
It actually identifies the importance we place on actually recognising those extraordinary efforts for police officers whenever they've occurred.
Remembering those whose lives have been lost. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Army cadets have given up their school holiday freedoms for a gruelling week in the bush. Hundreds of teenagers are being tested both physically and mentally in the Field Challenge.
Navigating their way through Stony Head Military Training Area.
This is Sierra 2 Charlie. We are currently at activity number 14. 9-8-0, over.
Today we've just been walking around all of Stony Head with a section of about 6 people.
More than 300 Army cadets from across the state are participating in the annual field exercise. With a series of daily outdoor challenges, they've traded in their tech devices for backpacks and boots.
At the start, first day it was fine, second day getting a bit rough, and then, third and fourth came along, and here we are.
Getting away from reality, getting away from the stresses of life, things like that. Enjoying being out bush with friends.
This is a great opportunity for them to get our outfield experience, work with ADF personnel, see everything in action that they've been taught about all year.
The cadets are in for some challenging conditions with rain predicted over the coming days.
While sleeping it gets pretty cold and having to get up early, get ready quickly and have 16-hour days.
While boys still outnumber girls, more females are enrolling, with the organisation always searching for more recruits aged 13 to 18.
As always, we're looking to grow. There's a couple of possibilities of some new units becoming available shortly. So it's just about seeing where the direction of Army Cadets is going, and then we'll just fill those gaps.
The field exercise wraps up on Sunday. Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
Future basketball stars have been given the chance to meet some of Tasmania's best in a free clinic run by the Jack Jumpers. The team teaching skills to children as it waits for one more player to begin training ahead of the season.
Shooting hoops with the pros. A dream come true for these young Jack Jumpers fans, scoring points and prized signatures.
I've got Josh Adams, Will McNay, Jared Barstow, and some of the coaches. Oh, it's so much fun. It's so surreal. Yeah, fun.
Players running through drills in the team's first free school holiday clinic for more than 200 children.
Working with them, doing some basketball stuff, ball handling, shooting, having a good time, just getting to know the community and getting to know the kids and just talking to them.
There's a pathway for women and men to follow, and we're here to help.
We've been learning how to shoot properly, and they've been teaching us the proper techniques, and it's been really fun.
A fun way for import Mikhail McIntosh to ease into Tasmanian life after recently playing in France. Already fired up for the upcoming NBL season beginning on November 18.
Just some aggression, some fight. I just want to do what I can to help the team out in many ways, any way I can really. Go out there and just play for my teammates, play hard on both ends of the floor, rebound.
As final player Josh Majette touches down in Tasmania today, ready for training.
So I think we'll be the first team in the NBL to have all 15 players, all imports out of quarantine and active with us.
While some future Jack Jumpers may already be in the making. Do you reckon you guys might become Jack Jumpers one day?
I really hope so. Yeah. Yep.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Creative Tasmanian groups are receiving a cash splash to help recover from the impacts of the pandemic. 2 programs sharing around $800,000 to support 15 community organisations and just under 280 artists, including $80,000 for youth dance group Drill for future performances.
That we can be busy in designing programs that engage young people from the age of 9 to 24. We work in schools, but we also do separate creative projects. And that's specifically to link up community arts with professional artists in relation to youth artists, schools, emerging artists and people with disabilities.
8 grant programs are currently open for application by Arts Tasmania and they close on October 11.
Launceston Tornado star Keely Froling has starred for the Opals in a convincing 64-point win over the Philippines. The 25-year-old was an attacking threat in Game 2 of the Asia Cup, scoring 21 points and 2 assists, while also snatching 12 rebounds. The team will take on China tonight. The Hobart Hurricanes have signed teenage talents Ruth Johnson and Angelina Genford for the upcoming WBBL season. Meanwhile, Hobart is poised to swoop in on Perth's Ashes Test match over fears the Western Australian Premier won't budge on border bans. The Tasmanian cricket boss told Triple M Hobart he's ready, willing and able to host the blockbuster as the Afghanistan Test is expected to be officially cancelled this week.
It's not acceptable that they don't allow female sport. If they want to play competitive male sport, particularly in the cricket sphere, they're going to have to rethink what they do.
It has been 5 years since Blundstone Arena hosted a test match.
Good evening. It was quite a warm day for the state. Launceston was the highest temperature at 19 degrees along with Strawn, 16 in Devonport, 15 for Burnie and Hobart reaching 14. A top of 18 in Flinders Island and 17 for King Island. Low Head and Bushy Park both 16, 15 for Grove. St Helens and Friendly Beaches had a high of 13 and 12 in Lyowini. Cloud can be seen over eastern Tasmania, along with the high cloud over the Bass Strait and some patchy cloud over the inland areas. While for the rest of Australia, there's a large mass of cloud over Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, and low-level cloud over WA. Tomorrow, an area of low pressure remains slowly moving over Victoria and directs an east to southeasterly stream over Tasmania. Winds are increasing up to 35 knots about the north tomorrow and a swell up to 4 metres in the west and south. A gale warning is current for northern coastal waters from Sandy Cape to the northern tip of Flinders Island, a strong wind warning for northeastern coastal waters from the northern tip of Flinders Island to St Helens Point, and a flood watch is current for north, northeast, east coastal, southeast and Huon catchments. Looking to tomorrow's weather, 15 a few showers and late rain for Hobart, Cygnet and New Norfolk. Launceston and Devonport will see showers with a top of 16, 14 degrees in Campbelltown. A 70% chance of showers in Burnie and Smithton, a high of 19 for Strawn. And St Helens, Swansea and Fingal will see showers transition to rain, all with temperatures in the mid-teens. Now to the 3-day forecast. The rain will continue across the state on Friday with possible thunderstorms in the afternoon. Saturday will see similar conditions and more showers on the way for Sunday. Australia-wide, tomorrow we'll see a few showers in Melbourne with a top of 19 and 25 with possible storms for Brisbane and Sydney. And it's currently 10 degrees in Hobart, 13 for Launceston and 13 in Devonport as well. And Kim, there's some really rough conditions forecast for this weekend, so please take care.
Good advice. Thanks very much, Tiani. Well, that is your midweek news. I'll be back later with updates. But for now, on behalf of the entire team, good night.